Alright, we're suing Minecraft in a class action lawsuit. Okay, let's watch the video.
This is Minecraft, the game that screwed its community so hard that we're about to sue them in a class action lawsuit. You see, in December of 2024, I uploaded this video in which I exposed Mojang, the creators of Minecraft, for breaking consumer protection laws and exposing children to gambling. And while I tried to seek justice for myself, I wasn't able to do so because my government is kind of incompetent, making access to justice basically impossible if you're not rich as fuck. So I tried adding a GoFundMe campaign at the end to finance a class action lawsuit because this wasn't something that affected just me, and obviously there's no way that would actually work, right?
YouTube and Kian Brose
Suing Mojang.
illegally
They
changing.
publicly funded
Already nearly on 1 million
19
views.
on trending
it's
right now.
exceeded it.
Completed its funding.
Already passed.
For
That's a
$120,000.
lot.
Oh wait, it passed!
Damn, that's got to be one of the fastest growing crowdfaming campaigns.
We raised $150,000 within days. Oh, it's fucking happening. Where we now
Am I crazy, but or am I crazy or not? Because I feel like he got fat.
have access to legal
He went to thin to fat.
representation and can proceed with the class action lawsuit.
Yes, my name is Björn Persson. I'm a member of the Swedish Bar Association. I run a law
Jesus Christ.
firm together with my colleague Conny Larsson.
Jeez, I'm not gonna say anything.
And we're working with this lawsuit since it's part of our practice and are looking to run this lawsuit as a class action against Mojang because we think it's an important issue that needs to
Hold on. What did you just say? Mojang. Oh hell no. Alright, whatever.
be addressed.
To give you a little recap, Minecraft is one of those games that anyone can modify to add things that it didn't originally
This guy says Mojang, but that guy just said Mojang. Oh my god, bro.
have. And what I wanted to do was add guns to the game to recreate an old game mode that I used to play as a child that had unfortunately been shut down. But right as it was about to release, Mojang said that a recent directive from Mojang leadership determined that guns and weapons are considered non-compliant features, meaning that they had to be completely removed, implying the shutdown of dozens of projects, including mine. But when actually looking into it, even though they said that guns and weapons were specifically prohibited by the game's legal agreements, when actually looking for these specific prohibitions, you'd come to find that they didn't actually exist. So Mojang was making shit up and pretending it was part of the terms of service.
You know what? This is very hard take about me, but the reason why his server got closed was because of his server was shit. I'm not even kidding. His server was underrated and no one was playing, so Mojang wanted to shut down the server. Just look at the Hypixel. It's going well, so Mojang will support it. I'm just saying. It's just matter about the numbers of players. Like it's
Service, a type of contract, which, as you've guessed, is kind of illegal.
A contract is an agreement between two parties, and both parties need to agree what the meaning of the contract is.
I don't want to be a mean person, but it is what it is. Like Mojang just like sometimes they tilt a lot, but like they will support it anyway if the server is like growing like bigger or whatever. It's like same thing. If the server is big and a lot of players actually play it, then Mojang will support no matter what. But your server was like small and no one cared about it, so Mojang just like, okay, let's just get rid of this, and just you got removed. It is what it is.
You can't be forced into new rules that apply to your contract unless you've been notified, as well as having a choice whether to actually accept those terms or just be able to.
But I'm saying that shouldn't be the reason that you're suing Minecraft. I mean, EULA and like those like terms are just wrong. It's because of your server shut down. You shouldn't be suing Minecraft. You have like some other reasons for that.
To keep using what you already have.
And since this is a hidden clause where guns are just one of the many examples that exist, Mojang can do whatever they want, like applying a different version of the same clause where you never know which one you're gonna get, changing their minds at any time like they did with the guns 3 times, and even go against their own rules, like allowing gambling even though they publicly pretend like it's forbidden. But obviously, shit gets worse, because when a company changes its terms of service, it's required to notify its users about the changes and get their agreement for it. And out of the 47 times they changed our legal agreements, they never told anyone about it. We know this because I went through thousands of archived pages for every single legal agreement that the game has ever.
But I think there's another, my personal take, which is like, what did he do? Was he even a Minecraft YouTuber? Like before? We're gonna check that out. Because if that's not the case, then there's no point. Yeah, it's just useless. He didn't even play Minecraft back then and pretend he was like a Minecraft player. Imagine not even a Minecraft YouTuber and say I'm gonna sue Mojang. Oh, it's just shit, man.
Own rules, like allowing gambling even though they publicly pretend like it's forbidden. But obviously, shit got the never agreement that's perfect, so that it's not their responsibility to tell you.
There's a lot of things that you really can't do with the contract and have it enforceable against the consumers. You have this legislation under European consumer law that mandates that the company that changes terms need to inform the consumers about this, and they can't enforce the new changes without giving the consumers a choice.
And if not telling anyone wasn't already bad enough,
they removed the notice when the software terms were updated. This is obviously making it harder for the consumers to exercise their rights.
Because not only is it our responsibility to check when changes happen, but they also make it borderline impossible to tell when they actually did, which is quite ironic.
You know what? I cannot truly like trust this guy, because like this guy wasn't even like making contents about Minecraft, and also like the fact that he's suing Mojang because is that he tried to run a server, Minecraft server, but then he failed because it got shut down. Do we have like a video that he made a server trailer for that?
Coming from the company that says, "We are trying to be open, honest, and most importantly trusting." But of course, it only gets worse. Remember how the original email from Mojang said that guns were specifically prohibited by these 3 legal agreements, where one of them didn't even exist? This is something I even pointed out in the last video. By the Mojang brand guidelines that literally do not exist. Well,
this guy must be trolling right now.
It turns out that
this
do
guy's
exist
just trolling.
Its own hidden internal
This guy is just trolling, bro.
Under strict NDA that does contain the prohibitions for guns. The very same document where Mojang internally recognizes loot boxes as gambling. And what pisses me off even more than them trying to apply a contract that was literally impossible to access without whistleblowers was that while they left us on hold for 6 months because
I feel like this is a case where you like do the scam like in a really good way, then this will happen. Like people will try to support you no matter what, and like later you just got scammed. It is what it is.
As their CEO was on vacation, they officially partnered with Nerf, the gun
You just fall for that trap because it was not Indian. Like it is what it is.
company, even though these guidelines say that gun-like toys are forbidden. Fucking hypocrites. But as you probably guessed it only gets worse. You see, when buying Minecraft, you create a Mojang account that is then used to play the game. At least, that's how it used to be. Because Mojang was bought by Microsoft in 2014.
But then I also think about like why he didn't try to make the server again with using no guns only. Like using no any guns, like because he wanted to use some guns on their server. And what if he changed that mind and okay, let's just not use the guns and just run a server? Then it might be ended well. But he's just like trying to go in a difficult way. You know what I'm saying?
Just a few years later, Mojang would announce that
Holy!
that moving forward, all of our games will require a Microsoft account to play. And if you didn't want to migrate your account, you won't be able to log in anymore, which means you won't be able to play either. In other words,
This one is, I would say, I agree with this.
either migrate your account and give Microsoft all of your data.
This one, I also, got pissed off by migrating to Microsoft, so I also agree with that.
Or they take away what you paid for. And this is what you call a threat. But not only did they threaten everyone, they also sneakily modified their terms of service to give themselves permission to cancel your account if they simply felt like it. And you see, when purchasing a game like Minecraft, that essentially means that you purchase a license to download and play the game, where the conditions of that license are within the terms of service. This is important because if a company wanted to change the way a service works, by for example changing their terms of service, that new version would only apply to the new users or the ones that explicitly agreed to the changes. In simple terms, if the contract used to say that you will be able to play the game, if the company doesn't like that anymore...
No, the logic doesn't make sense on here, because if that happens, then many players, they would just like say, oh, it's like why they only have the ability to do something like such things like having the Mojang account only. That's like an exclusive thing. New users, like players, will say, oh, that's unfair. So they just like, okay, let's f with it.
They can't take it away from you.
It's simple. It's simple.
because that would be called breach of contract, which is kind of illegal. And what happened here was that Mojang was forcing everyone to migrate, saying things like, you will not be able to access the game, migration is mandatory, won't be able to play Minecraft, must be migrated to a Microsoft.
Players need to move to a Microsoft
Mojang accounts to Microsoft accounts.
Where, funnily enough, they had the balls to say that this was voluntary 3 times. So voluntary, in fact, that if you didn't do it, they took away what you paid for.
This was a forced migration where you obviously didn't have much of a choice. The only choice you had was to terminate your account.
And not only were they forcing everyone to give their data to a company with a world record of privacy violations, which got recently fined $20 million by the FTC for illegally collecting information on children — most Minecraft players are children — but in doing so, they also agreed to Microsoft and Xbox's legal agreements, all under the threat of them taking away what you paid for if you didn't do what they wanted.
A contract needs to be entered into freely, and that obviously means that you need to have...
I just hate people like when just like people just call Minecraft as a like child game, you know? Oh, child game, blocky game. Oh my god, you're just making fun of like the same as Roblox. The logic doesn't make sense right here. Logic is like their logic and their mind is like fucking Roblox equal Minecraft doesn't make any sense. Roblox and Minecraft is a different game.
A choice between agreeing and not agreeing.
And Minecraft is not even a child game. Childish? Not even childish.
Just presenting one choice is not really an agreement.
But even though it was illegal, Mojang still went ahead with it, which resulted in millions of people losing access to what they paid for, some of which were never even notified that it was happening to begin with, only finding out years later that their purchase had been nullified. But when actually contacting Mojang to complain, you'd come to find that they wouldn't answer questions and automatically close most tickets asking for answers. And when asking Microsoft about it, they would say that, I've discussed your issue with
You got helped by others. It's just not like you have your own power.
Mojang support and came
At least have enough money to like sue Mojang. Like
to the conclusion that the migration is within the Minecraft terms and conditions. In other words, we've investigated ourselves and found nothing wrong. But unfortunately for them, this user knows his rights. And when asking Microsoft to cite his contract for where it says that a Microsoft account is required to play, Microsoft said, end user license agreements are constantly updated. Please refer to the current one. Where the current one says, if you originally signed up for a Mojang account, you must migrate to a Microsoft account in order to keep using the services. But this wasn't part of the contract when the user had bought the game. To which Microsoft replied, I understand that this is your interpretation, but this EULA applies for any user regardless of the date of creation. Further stating that your contract is the new EULA, the old one doesn't apply anymore. You agreed to these terms by using the service. Where they then immediately closed the ticket, refusing to answer any further questions. And this is a perfect example of fucking up in writing, because it confirms the idea that
it is up to you to check back to see if these guidelines have changed.
And that they don't care about agreements since they claim that you agreed to changes that they didn't even tell you about. So Mojang voided everyone's contract since they say that they don't apply anymore. And you fucking guessed it, this is breach of contract. And if that wasn't bad enough, when actually looking at the historical changes to the contract, there used to be a clause that says that you will be able to play the game even if you don't agree to the new changes. All of which were, of course, sneakily removed during the migration.
I would say that this forceful way of migrating the customers is not a term that is enforceable by Microsoft, which in this case would mean that they...
Sometimes you need to have like amount of the popularity to execute such things like this, you know, because like you don't even have a 1 million subscribers. Like at least have some popularity to do such things like this. Like you cannot just like dig in and it will happen. It's just not something that you could just do it right now. It's like lawsuit. You just want to do it right now. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
You would be forced to reinstate the old accounts.
And all of this is essentially what the class action lawsuit is about. Minecraft's success is entirely due to the community making it what it is, through, for example, mods and servers, because the base game in itself isn't really that interesting. And when the very things that we depend on to actually enjoy the game...
Yeah, that's really shit take right there.
Success
is hell no.
Entirely
what
due
did
to
you
the
say?
Community making it what it is, through, for example, mods and servers, because the base game in itself isn't really that interesting.
Oh, f*** you, man. F*** you.
And when the very things that we depend on to actually enjoy the game are being threatened by a company that ignores our rights like this, we as consumers end up being affected because Mojang is restricting the way we're able to play the game. On top of them literally taking the game away under...
Yo, I bet he didn't even play Minecraft for over 10,000 hours. Bro, I played Minecraft for over 40,000 hours, man. My goal is 100,000 hours.
Threat simply because they knew that nobody would be fighting back. But there's a limit to the amount of shit that people are willing to take before taking measures. And Mojang, you fucking crossed it. Because we're not begging or asking for mercy anymore. This is a class action lawsuit that you cannot ignore.
I think this is an important case for this reason that this is becoming a general business practice right now. And it's not supposed to be like that when you're dealing with consumers, especially children. We're seeing a lot of companies coming out with this claim that you don't get the full terms of service or for their product when you buy it. The company you're buying from refer you to their contractual terms on a website, which can change at any time, basically depriving you all your consumer rights.
Right,
and this is not right. This is something we really need to act upon and make sure that we can exercise our consumer rights.
And our objectives are quite simple. Revert the account migration, meaning the reinstatement of all unmigrated accounts where Mojang in the EU has to be the owner of all customer data, comply with contract and consumer protection laws, so notify about the changes, get agreement for the changes without threatening a consequence for disagreement, remove unenforceable clauses, including hidden clauses like the one that allows gambling, clearly indicate when changes happen, and comply with the terms of our old contracts.
I think these goals are both reasonable and...
You know what, that's actually a bullshit. That's actually a bullshit. What do you mean revert the migration? It already happened. You cannot just say, oh, revert it. It doesn't... It just doesn't work. It's like you're saying, oh, when you're doing the Photoshop and just like you edited a photo and you're saying, oh, revert it, and you already saved the file. Like what? What are you saying? You think it's gonna work? In this context, like if you see, like if you just listen to what I said, that doesn't make sense because like you saved the photo with using the Photoshop and you're saying revert it, and it's already edited. How are you supposed to like revert it? I mean you can eventually revert it, but it's gonna cost you extra some shit things to do.
With the terms of our old contracts.
I think these goals are both reasonable and achievable, and saying that is coming from looking at what this case is all about, which is a big corporation.
You know what? I think it's kind of stupid. I mean, suing Minecraft is like a good concept. Okay, it's a good concept, but like suing Mojang just because of that, it's a bullshit.
Abusing consumer rights and doing so without anybody responding.
Like just make a Minecraft server that you never use the gun. Like, is that hard?
To it would be wrong.
But as you might have expected, the legal system is kind of complicated. Because if we take these two examples, even though the core of the issue is the same, our contract, there's a difference in who was affected by them.
Basically, you need to have the same kind of damage and the same kind of circumstances for everybody that goes into the class action.
So they would each have a different way of approaching it legally, some being easier to pursue than others. Which is why the account migration is such a great option, because you paid for something which they then took from you under threat, all of which is very easily quantifiable damages, which basically affected everyone before 2023, including those who did
What is this guy talking about?
migrate because it was done under threat. And since the account migration is tied to our contracts just like everything else, we can then use it to resolve most issues with a single process.
What are you gonna do if Mojang already deleted those accounts which it didn't do the migration? Can you revert it actually?
We need to decide on how we formulate this claim. What is the damage that's been done and how are we going to prove that? And actually the evidence is going to decide for us how we're going to do this.
And that is the reason for this video, because we are now at the stage where we need you, the Minecraft player, to say that you want to participate in the class action lawsuit and to tell us how you were affected so that we can then identify and form the group that will participate. And the more submissions we get, the more likely we are to achieve what we've set out to do and show Mojang that they don't get to do whatever the fuck they want.
Obviously, it's always decided on the evidence and how well we can present that to a court and make them understand what's actually at stake here, which is the consumer.
And if we win, Mojang will also have to pay back our legal costs, which also unfortunately goes the other way, meaning that I would essentially go bankrupt if we were to lose, which is always a possibility. But I don't want to live with the regret of not trying simply because I was too afraid of losing.
Okay, I actually respect that. That mindset is actually good.
So bring it on.
I agree with that. I agree with
Mojang,
that.
I'll see you in court.
Google Forms. Okay, let's have a look at the Google Forms. Where's the Google Forms at? Alright, let's see that. Class action lawsuit participation form. This form will be asking you a series of questions that will help us determine your eligibility for the class action lawsuit. You'll be asked to sign a power of attorney at a later date that allows our lawyers, Bjorn Parson and Coney Larson, to represent you. Person. Marcus Person, where? I'm just gonna wait until the results, I guess. Alright, I mean, it was a good video. It was a good video.